Welcome back to Design Bundle's YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make an overlay right inside of Cricut Design Space. Now, if you don't know what an overlay is, it's usually used with scrapbooking. So you're going to create your pages, which are normally 12 by 12, and you can create these really fun overlays to go on top to really layer up your designs for your photos and things like that. Now, I'm also going to show you how you can use this overlay for things like print and cut to create stickers as well. So let's go ahead and dive right in. First things first is, how do you make an overlay? So let's go ahead and start off by bringing in a shape. So we're going to bring in our square here. And now, like I said, a normal scrapbook page is 12 by 12, and the Cricut can only cut 11.5 by 11.5. So right away, we're going to change the size to 11.5. All right, just like so. Now, obviously, it can cut bigger, 11.5 by 24 inches and things like that for your paper crafts on the bigger mat. But for your square, 11.5 by 11.5. So we've got this here, and so this is going to be our base layer for our overlay. So to create an overlay is you can just simply bring in shapes. So we can bring in another square here. And we're going to change our colors so we can see these here. So it would just be the same color. It doesn't matter. So we're going to be slicing and stuff anyway. So figure out your sizes. So say, for example, I was doing, let's just do 4 inches. And actually, I'm going to do 4.5. All right. And I could do 2 of these. So I think could do 4 all the way across. So I'm going to grab it here. I'm going to duplicate. And then I'll line this up over here. So I'm just going to create my page. Maybe I have something like this. I'm going to hit shift, grab them, so I can grab both, and then duplicate that again. So that way I can have 4 on one page. So then I'll just kind of line these up till I'm completely happy. You can always hit shift on your computer, and then we could align, to the top, grab this set here, shift to grab 2 at a time, align to the top, okay? Same thing with the sides here. You can grab the sides, align to the right, grab here. This is really just going to line everything up, align to the right. So then you can grab your big square here and really line that up, which we can get into in a second. So what we're going to do is move this big guy out of our way. We're going to select all 4 squares, and then we are going to hit weld. This is going to make it one layer. So to be able to slice something, you have to make it one layer. So if it was all 4, I'd have to do them individual. So to do them together, just weld them together, bring this guy back in. To center this up, I can select both of them, align center, and this is going to give us dead center. After this, we can just come right down here to slice, hit the slice tool, and then it's going to give us that overlay. So this is what an overlay looks like. So say, for example, I'm going to have photo, or maybe, for example, I want to take this little palm tree here and pop it right over here in this corner, select everything, and hit weld. So that way I can kind of create this beach theme. I could also come up here to text. I'm going to be using Peach Lemonade. This is for 1+ credit. You guys can find this over on designbundles.net. I'll have it linked down below for you guys. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and type out beach, and then I'm going to just simply size it out, and that way we can hook it on here. So I can kind of hook it to the side, because see what I'm doing is I'm leaning it up against our overlay. I could do the top, and so I can have beach and that H. So you notice my B and the top of that H is both touching. So if we went to weld this, it would select them together. But what I actually want to do is I want to space this A out a little bit more, because if I go to weld it now, it's going to stick together. It doesn't always happen, but sometimes in Cricut Design Space, some font needs just a little bit more room. So I'm going to go ahead and come up to letter spacing, and I'm going to bring it up one more time. And then now I'm going to weld it so that way it's all one piece. And then I'm going to select both of these layers once again, hit weld, and now I have this overlay, really fun overlay. I could also have done beach, life, whatever I wanted to, the Thomas family. So now whenever I go in, I'm going to bring in another shape here, and I'm going to do that same. I'm actually going to do like a 12 by 12 sheet so you can see what it would look like. All right. And then I'm going to do, say, for example, this like blue here. I'll go to advanced and maybe really make it like a really pretty blue. Something about like this. Arrange, send to the back. And then you guys can kind of see that here. So maybe I'm actually going to have this in you know, a white or something like that to really kind of pop off, or, you know, I could turn it into sand, whatever I wanted to do. So that way you guys can see here how you can create your very own overlays. Bring in lots more different things or whatever. But I want to show you, you can actually bring in different layers like this. So these pieces right here actually came from 3D paper craft projects. So you know the 3D paper crafts that we have, this is actually 4 different layers, and you can actually bring these in so you can create your shadow boxes. So the 3D paper crafts are actually designed for shadow boxes, but you can also use them for creating overlays. So what I did was I brought in a couple of them so that way we can recreate this. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do it. So let's go ahead and delete this guy and let's start over again. So let's get another shape. We're going to go ahead and do 11.5. So we can go ahead and get our base layer going. All right, just like so. So now what I'm going to do this time is I want to figure out how big I want these to be. So let's go ahead and send backwards. Arrange, send backwards. Let me actually arrange, send backwards. There we go. So that way we can get this guy in the front. So what I'm going to do here is figure out about where I'm wanting this to go. So something about like this. And this one, I really love it because it looks like the waves as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one as well, somewhere right about in here. So what I want to do this time is I'm going to bring in a shape, bring in this little square here. I'm going to unlock it. And I'm actually going to bring down this like so. Just like that. Something about like that. And maybe I will actually, I'm trying to decide really quick. So just bear with me, guys. I'm trying to figure out my design here. So maybe we're going to do something. We can either do both of these the same, very similar. Or we could do something different if we wanted to. So something about like that. Let's just say I'm happy with this. I think it looks great. All right, so in order to slice this, remember this needs to be one solid piece. So if I go here and you notice slice is not available, it's because all of these are individual. So you can just slice them one at a time, or we can move this guy out of the way for a minute, select all of these, make them one by hitting the weld button. Bring this guy back in, just kind of line it back up where we want it to be. Something about like this looks good. And then I'm going to select them again. Now you're going to notice that slice popped back up. We're going to hit slice. And then we have this little layer here. So you can have this layer here where it looks just like this. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to layer this piece on top. So it's not attached, right? So how can we do that? So let's go ahead and hit undo. So to get this to cut correctly, let's make sure it went all the way backwards. So undo, undo. So before it welded, right? So before it sliced, if you will. So what I'm going to do is I need to create 2 squares that are identical to this. So before I actually weld this, we're going to even back it up one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. So now before we weld everything, see these 2 layers? I need to know the exact measurements of these 2, not this one because it's a solid. So for example, this one right here is 7.393 by 4.879. I'm going to go ahead and bring in a shape, bring in that square, and I'm going to unlock it. So our first number is 7.393. All right, so our wide is 7.393, enter. So then our next one is 4.879. 4.879, enter. All right, so this will line up perfectly on top of this one. So we'll set it aside for just a second. And now we need another one. So I'm going to bring back in another square. Unlock it again. Let's get this size. So 7.262. 7.262, enter. Then we're going to find our next number, 4.793. 4.793, enter. All right, so we're going to go ahead and lock this. Now, if you had made these 2 identical sizes, you would just need to duplicate your square once. So now we have these. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to set these out of the way for a second. I'm going to bring this guy back in, line everything back up where we wanted it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these right on top. So I'm going to line them up right on top of these designs right here, just like so. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide these for just a second. So the 2 layers underneath, I'm going to hide those. So now I can select all of these guys right here And I'm going to have to move this guy out of our way one more time. We're going to select these and we're going to weld them because remember they have to be one solid piece. Bring this guy back in here just like so where we want it. Select it and we're going to hit slice. So now we have this really cool overlay. So we're going to get rid of this piece now. All right, just like that. So now we have this. So what we can do is we can bring these guys back in here. So what we can do is we're going to line this back up just like so. So if you leave those in place, you should be able to just line this up like this. Select it, hit weld. And it should be one solid piece. I didn't line mine up good enough. You guys can see that there. So if I go ahead and go like that. Let me double check on this little layer here. I can always stretch it back out a little bit further just to make sure it's touching side to side. So just make sure all four sides are touching on each one. Hit weld, and then you should be one solid piece like this. So the reason why I want it this way is because that way whenever I put it on my background, so let's bring back in our shape here. So, I think I brought in the wrong shape. Bring in our square. Get rid of this here. Hit 12 inches. All right, let's bring this back to a blue. A baby blue, something like this. And arrange, send backwards. So whenever we go to line this up inside of our scrapbook, I want my photos to be able to pop up in here. Okay, so that way you guys are going to be able to see how cute this is right inside of our scrapbook. We're going to have our photos pop through here. Maybe I want to do a little journaling in here, stuff like that. Now the reason why I did this here is I wanted to show you again using that peach lemonade. So I'm going to go ahead, go back to text again, and I'm going to type out beach life. And before, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and do those separate. So I'm going to do beach. Actually, I guess we could do beach life together. All right, so what I'm going to do once again is I'm going to do that letter spacing. I'm going to bring it out just 1 or 2 times. And then we're going to go ahead and weld them. So that way they're one solid piece. And then I'm going to go ahead and start to size this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it. Just like this. One more time, just like so. All right, so what I'm going to do once again, I'm going to make sure that L, you can see the F top touching, the B's touching, the H is a little bit, kind of center that up a little bit. I can make it as big as I want. Maybe I want it to really stretch through here. And maybe I'm going to touch the top and the bottom design. We're going to try to. If not, I'm just going to touch the top or at least the bottom piece maybe even. Let's see if we can stretch it a little bit further to try to see. I'm trying to get it to touch the top and the bottom in some places, at least. And maybe even one more. So just like that. I think we're touching top and bottom. Select everything. I'm going to hit weld. And there we go. Look at how super cute this layout is. So we can go right on top of our scrapbook page and have it just like this. Once again, add your photos. And then you can jot things down. So think outside of the box with those 3D paper crafts, and there is a ton of them, tons of different, you know, whether it's Christmas time, Easter, lots of different ideas here, and you can use those to create overlays. So number one, you could do it with some basic shapes and font, or you can bring these pieces in and really create those amazing overlays. Now, how can you use an overlay to create sticker sheets? Now, we're going to do some basic shapes for this. So let's go ahead and get rid of this guy here. All right. So let's see, how would you do that? Now, Cricut has offset. So if you guys see, let me go ahead and bring in my designs. Let's go ahead and start off here. So let's go ahead and bring in my stuff. All right, so now I'm going to show you guys how to create a sticker sheet doing the same sort of concept with an overlay. So what we're going to do here is bring in a shape. We're going to bring in our square. Now, whenever it comes to print and cut, you guys know that we can only go so big with our designs. So to figure out how big of a size, if you don't know how big your design can be for print and cut, what you can do is really size this guy out. And then I'm going to change this to a print and cut, standard print and cut. And what I'm immediately going to get is a warning. So this little warning here is going to tell us the exact measurements, how big we can go for the max that we can make a sticker sheet or cut something out with print and cut, which is 6.75 by 9.25. So what we're going to do is I'm going to unlock this square and I'm going to make it 6.75 by 9.25. So we're going to do that right away. So that way it's perfect. All right, so here we go. So here's our background layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change this to white here. So, and actually I'm going to make it to pink just so we can see everything. So what you can do with your overlays to make a sticker sheet. Now, Cricut actually has offset now. So you can actually click on this, click on offset, and it's going to give you an offset, which really it's going to give you an offset of the design. It's going to kind of go around it. So if that's not what you're looking for and you're wanting to create a square sticker or a circle sticker, you could do it with the same concept for creating an overlay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to bring in, so I'm going to bring in a circle. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm making 2-inch stickers. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to white because I don't want any sort of color. What I'm wanting is a print, then cut. So I'm just going to take my circle here and I'm actually going to duplicate it so that way I always have a blank one on hand. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and size this little guy down to something about like this, maybe just a little bit more, okay? And then I'm going to arrange, send to the front, and that way we can line it up on top of this sticker here. So we're going to go ahead and size him down just a little bit more, and we're going to line him up on our sticker. So once we're happy with that placement, to create a print then cut sticker that's going to go around the circle. So if you don't flatten these two layers, what's going to happen is it's going to cut all the way around this design, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and grab this guy right here as well as that circle, and then I'm going to hit flatten. So now that gives you this little round circle sticker. It's going to print the design and only cut around the circle. So I want to go ahead and duplicate this 2 more times because I'm creating 3 sets of 3. Well, 4 sets of 3. So I'm going to go ahead and line these guys up right here. All right, so I'd go ahead and do the exact same thing to the next one. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this again so I always have a blank. I'm going to bring in my next little cute gnome guy, which is right here. And I want to arrange, send to the front. And I'm going to line this up just like so. And then same thing. Once I'm happy with it, I'm going to select this and the circle and hit, we're going to hit flatten. So it's very important to make sure you flatten your design. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to duplicate it 2 more times, just like so. All right, so I'm going to do the same process with these last 2 guys. So I'm going to speed this up really quick. All right, so we're going to go ahead and duplicate this one 2 more times, and then we're going to line everything up to create the same sense of an overlay, okay? So what I'm going to do is you can simply select these 3 like so, and then I can go to align, and I can align top. So that's going to line those up perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing with these 3 here, align top, and then I can kind of bring these up just a little bit. Same thing with this next one here. And I actually need to space this a little bit, so I'm kind of eyeballing those. And then I'm going to hit align top. And then I'm going to do the same thing with these guys. And I think I need to scoot this over just a little bit. So select, 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 align, and we are going to do align top. So now what I can actually do too is I can actually do, you know, these ones like so, go all the way down, and I can actually go, you know, align right. Same thing, grab these ones, align right. And align right. Okay, there we go. So then I can actually take the sticker sheet and go perfectly like this around everything. So if I wanted to really get everything else really perfect too, I could go ahead and select all of these layers here. And I'm going to use my up arrow on my keyboard to bring those up just a little bit more. I kind of went a little excessive. So I'm going to bring those back down just a little bit here. So just until I kind of get them down. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this and bring it back in just so I can visually see that. But I could definitely just select them all here while I have my background layer and then move them up 1 just so you guys can see that there. Just so you can make your sticker sheet absolutely perfect. So once you do this, what you want to do next is we actually want to select all of these here. And once again, we want to hit attach. So this time we're going to hit attach, and this is going to let them be one solid file. So that way they're going to cut on here perfect. So say, for example, this was our sheet. So if this was our print and cut sheet, it may want to cut them all the way up over here like so. But we want it nice and centered in this sheet because what I want it to do is I want it to print out, cut out around the circles. And then what I want it to do is cut all the way around the square here as well. So to do so, I'm going to go ahead and select both of these layers here. And then I'm going to go ahead and align. We're going to, oh, sorry, I did align bottom. So align, we're going to do center. That's going to give us that dead center. And then the same thing, I'm going to go ahead and attach these. So I don't want to flatten it, because if I flatten this, it's just going to print everything. And then it's going to go ahead and cut all the way around the whole big square. So before I go to, I need to go ahead and change my background back to white. So you're not going to be able to see those white circles, but when it does cut, it's going to cut out those circles, and then it's going to cut out the square. So it's going to do all of that work for us. So that's how you can create that same sense of an overlay. So you can do the exact same thing with squares or whatever you want to do. Now with something like this, maybe you want to throw these in. Let me change this background just so we can see once again, just to show you another little tip. Do pink. So say, for example, I want to throw in some teensy tiny stickers, and it doesn't matter. I'm going to arrange send to the front, that they're on a circle or not. I'm just kind of throwing them in. So maybe I'm going to do, you know, a couple of those like so, and then arrange, send to the front. We're going to size this little flower down. I'll kind of throw some flowers in here, duplicate those. Just to kind of create some extras on the sticker sheet as well. So you can definitely do that as well. Arrange, send to the front. We'll do a couple more just to kind of show you this full sticker sheet here. Bring this little guy down, and then we can duplicate it. Bring it right over here. And same thing, just keep on going until you have this full sticker sheet. So we would do that same thing. So once we have these little pieces here, these would actually cut out here. I would go ahead and select everything once again and attach, so that way they're going to all cut on that one sheet together, if that makes sense. So what it's going to do is it's going to print everything out. Once again, I would go ahead and change this back to white just so you guys, I only do that so I can visually see. So always remember to change it back to white, but you can see how super cute that sticker sheet is. So we're going to have the nice circles, and then we're going to have these little guys right here. Maybe this is for planners, or maybe you're putting these on packages, or whatever it may be. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe. And we'll see you guys on the next one.